To those who still revere him, the Volibear is storm made manifest, destructive, wild, and stubbornly resolute. He existed before mortals walked the Freljord's tundra, and is fiercely protected of the land that he and his demigod kin created, cultivating a deep hatred of civilization and the weakness it brought with it. He now fights to return to the old ways, when the land was untamed and blood spilled freely, and eagerly battles all who oppose him, with tooth, claw, and thundering domination. Greetings summons and welcome back to Lords of Lore. You just heard the teaser text on Volibear's universe page, but without further ado, I give to you the Bio of Volibear, the Relentless Storm. Enjoy. To some, he is the thunderous roar, the great storm of Valhir. To other, he is ruined, the thousand-pierced bear, or he who stand. But to most of the tribes who still hold to the old ways, he is known as the Volibear. Destruction, strength, and the storm made manifest, the Volibear represents the unstoppable power and fury of the Freljord itself. It was the Volibear and his demigod kin who formed the land they called Vorjord, long before the arrival of the mortal races. The sagas tell of how he created the 5 fjords with one mighty sweep of his claws, and how his epic battle with the savage magma serpent Ron formed countless valleys and ravines. When the Volibear finally felled the beast, its blood became the first river in the Freljord, and its colossal corpse formed the Wormback Mountains. In the days of the first tribes, wild magic ran rampage. The Volibear was venerated and worshipped by all, for they all needed his indomitable strength to survive. Great wars were waged, and the Volibear took to the field alongside his followers, clad in ruined inscribed armor made by his brother Orn, the demigod of the Forge. At the time, the brothers' bond was strong. They often fought at each other's side, even though Orn never had quite the same lust for battle. The Volibear reveled in hard-fought victories, and as even more blood offering was made to him, his power swelled. In time, the Volibear and his kin drifted apart, each focusing on their own pursuits. Even so, there was no true division between them, until new ideas began to usurp the old beliefs. 3 sisters rose to power, seeking to control and impose order on the Freljord, and the demigods could not agree on how to proceed. A few, like Anivia, seemed inclined to work with the sisters, while Volibear and the Iron Boar wanted to destroy them. Others would have been completely content to ignore them completely, since these feeble creatures would eventually die like all before them. The Volibear looked to the most animalistic and savage of his followers, known as the Ursine. With them, he would defeat the 3 sisters. In preparation, he sought out Orn to arm his warriors for battle, but Orn refused. He did not approve of the Ursine's savage way, and a terrible fight erupted between the 2 demigods. In the aftermath, the Volibear cursed his brother's name and cast off his rune-inscribed armor. He would fight from then on with just tooth and claw and might and thunder. Far from being lessened, the Volibear found his power was now unleashed. With newfound rage, he confronted one of the mortal sisters who sought to steal the power of the demigods for herself, but before her entire army, he struck her down, blinding her. But he was unable to stop what she had already set in motion. As the centuries rolled by, and despite the Volibear's resistance, tribes began to venerate and worship the 3 sisters instead. Many of the ancient practices were forgotten. He saw tribes cowering behind stone walls rather than face the rawness of nature. He saw fields being tilled and farmers herding cattle rather than hunting. He bellowed his fury to see great rivers stand rather than be allowed to roar free. This was not his Freljord. The change had happened slowly and glacially, but the Volibear finally came to realize that the tribes had been cut off from the wild spirit of the land, making them frail, compliant and soft. These weaklings had no reverence for the old ways or old gods. Anger and determination rumbled within him. He vowed to tear down all evidence of civilization and return the Freljord to its ancient state as a true wilderness. The people would become strong once more. He would again be honored and feared by all. As the call of the Volibear reverberates across the mountains and plains of the north, more and more Freljordians are responding. Slowly, the old ways are being remembered and re-embraced, and his strength grows with each new follower. A reckoning of blood awaits, and the Volibear is rushing towards it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes the Bio of Volibear, the Relentless Storm. I suggest you subscribe, because as soon as this color story will be coming out, as it normally does during their release, I will be covering it as fast as I can. But the story has a lot of great information about the Freljord, like his relationship with Ornn, how Anivia was a pacifist, and how the Sandra tried to steal the power of the old gods. With that information out of the way, my Lots of League series has returned, because the squad is back together. But until next time, enjoy.